Donald Trump's legal team just discovered some incredible collusion in his ongoing legal case that has legal scholars upset. Senator Joe Manchin says he will run for president, but only if Biden steps out because of health issues. It's all very suspicious what he's saying and doing right now. The United States is trying to decide whether to attack Iran or Syria or Jordan to get back at an attack on the U.S. military base in Syria that killed United States soldiers in Jordan. Thank you so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you supporting the channel as I do hours and hours of research in order to bring you the best information each and every day. Now, don't miss out on my interview from earlier today with Congressman Scott Perry on the civil war that's coming to the state of Texas. 700,000 truckers are heading to defend the border, and there's worry there could be a false flag operation to trap more American patriots. And we might end up in war if Biden gets his way. All of this with some super insightful information in that interview. I will link it at the end of this video. Okay, now NBC News just kicked off the week by announcing that President Biden will be joined by former President Barack Obama and Bill Clinton on the campaign trail. While I understand having Barack Obama, I think having Bill Clinton might actually be hurtful to Joe Biden based on all of the disgusting news coming out about his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, the number of times he went to Epstein's island, the pictures coming out of him being massaged by young teenage girls. It's very clear that the Biden campaign is becoming desperate. And with this recent attack and death of U.S. military soldiers in Jordan, it appears that President Biden is going to need all the help he can get. By the way, I see you guys over here leaving comments. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to continue to do this, but I did want to acknowledge that I do see you. Now, if you haven't heard, an Iran-backed militia launched a drone attack yesterday, which sadly killed 3 American troops and injured more than 34 people. Although the United States has been able to largely deflect the previous 100+ attacks, no military is 100% bulletproof, including the United States military. Following the loss, President Joe Biden stated, "While we are still gathering the facts of this attack, we know it was carried out by a radical Iran-backed militant group operating in Syria and Iraq. We will carry on their commitment to fight terrorism and have no doubt we will hold all of those responsible to account at a time and in a manner of our choosing." So this is very sad, and there is going to be payback, but they're still digging in and gathering all the details at this time. Now, for most of us, this tragedy brings back the disappointment we felt during the Afghanistan withdrawal disaster. After offering his sympathies to the families affected, former President Donald Trump labeled the attack as a result of Joe Biden's weakness. Trump stated, 3 years ago, Iran was weak, broke, and totally under control. Thanks to my maximum pressure policy, the Iranian regime could barely scrape $2 together to fund their terrorist proxies. Then Joe Biden came in and gave Iran billions of dollars, which the regime has used to spread bloodshed and carnage throughout the Middle East. As the presidential election inches closer, Representative Nancy Pelosi of San Francisco, California, is now alleging that Russia may be behind anti-Biden protests held by young people throughout America. During an interview with CNN, Nancy Pelosi alleged that Russia is funding American protests calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. Pelosi stated, "It's about Putin's message. I think some of these protesters are spontaneous, organic, and sincere. Some are connected to Russia. I say that having looked at this for a long time. I think some financing should be investigated. I want to ask the FBI to investigate that. Now, to me, it seems kind of like Pelosi is claiming election interference to explain outrage against Joe Biden's support for Israel. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. It could just be that people are irritated that Israel is killing so many people in Gaza and that this war continues to drag out. And now is more and more conflict in the Middle East region, specifically around the Red Sea. This may have nothing to do with Russia funding anybody in America to go out and protest, but what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet, right? Now, with many Democrats, such as Michelle Obama, expressing their worry about the upcoming election, Representative AOC is back in the headlines after confidently asserting that Donald Trump has no chance of beating Joe Biden. During an interview with NBC's Meet the Press, Representative AOC argued that Donald Trump did horrible against Nikki Haley in the New Hampshire primary. She stated, "The fact that he is a former sitting president, head of his party, and virtually everyone else has dropped out and endorsed him. And we just saw Nikki Haley came and she cleared out 43% in New Hampshire's bodes not very well for Donald Trump and his ability to win the general election." Now, we know that AOC doesn't know what she's talking about. Data scientists have gone back and removed all of the people that changed party in order to vote for Nikki Haley. And when you take that into account, Donald Trump actually carried New Hampshire by 79%. So AOC just simply does not know what she is talking about. Okay, now down in Fulton County, the district attorney, Fani Willis, has responded to a letter seeking more information on behalf of her alleged lover, Nathan Wade. The request was posed by Jim Jordan of the House of Representatives and sought to get response regarding recent accusations posed against the couple. As you'd expect, Willis denied Jordan's request on the basis that it violates principles of separation of power and federalism. Now, unfortunately for Willis, both her and Wade will likely be subpoenaed soon by the recently put together state investigative committee. So we'll get a response either way, but she is telling Jim Jordan to jump off a cliff and that she's not going to give answers about the way she's conducting the Trump investigation or about her alleged affair with Nathan Wade. Charles Littlejohn, the man who stole Donald Trump's tax returns in order to publish them and make a name for himself, has just made a name for himself by being sentenced to 5 years in prison for stealing and leaking another person's tax return. Littlejohn reportedly stole thousands of tax returns while working for a consulting agency which had a partnership with the IRS. Judge Ann Reyes addressed the defendant by stating, "What you did in attacking the sitting president of the United States was an attack on our constitutional democracy. We're talking about someone who pulled off the biggest heist in IRS history. The fact that he did what he did and he's facing one felony count, I have no other words." Now, last week, former President Donald Trump was ordered to pay over $80 million to E. Jean Carroll because a jury found that he damaged her reputation by calling her a liar. For those unaware, Carroll accused Trump of inappropriately assaulting her back in the 90s. She doesn't know when, but sometime in the 90s, and was awarded $5 million by a civil jury. Trump then complained that she was crazy and he did not know her. Now, Trump is appealing the judge's $80 million decision on grounds of conflict of interest. Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, revealed that the judge presiding over the case actually mentored Miss Carroll's lawyer back in the 90s. Following the announcement, Habba stated, "It was never disclosed. It's insane and so incestuous." Now, shortly after, the spokesman for Carroll's lawyer defended the client, stating, "They overlapped for less than 2 years in the early 90s at a large law firm where he was a senior partner and she was a junior associate. Now, whatever the case may be, everyone will have their own opinion on who is guilty and who is innocent, even though there were no witnesses. She's deleted evidence and she can't remember much of the event. However, Trump's main opponent, Nikki Haley, has now decided to publicly chime in on the issue in order to sway votes away from Trump and towards herself. During a new appearance on NBC, Nikki Haley stated, "I absolutely trust the jury. I think they made their decision based on evidence. I just don't think they should take him off the ballot. I think the American people should take him off the ballot." Now, let me know in the comments down below, is Nikki Haley going to get Make America Great voters vote by defaming Donald Trump and calling him a sexual assaulter? Do you think this is going to bode well? Let me know down below. I'd like to hear from you. Thanks, Jay Coltzer, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. All right, by the way, I do see you guys here on the live. Thank you so much. I'm not trying to ignore you. I just want to get through this and then I'll come on and say hello to you. Okay, over in Ukraine, 5 people have just been charged with stealing nearly $40 million that was supposed to go towards buying 100,000 mortar shells in order to fight Russia. While the accused now face 12 years in prison, Ukraine's prosecutor general claimed the funds have been recaptured and should still be spent on defense of Ukraine. Ukraine's President Zelensky has been trying to crack down on corruption since the war started, as he's fired multiple officials. But there has been reports that from Iran that it's easy to purchase weapons from Ukraine's black market. Excuse me. Now, we know from CNN that only about 30% of money and weapons are actually making it to the front line, which means that America's enemies are getting access to our taxpayer money. It also means that they are getting access to our weapons, which could be used against us or one of our allies down the road. It's pretty scary what's going on, but of course they continue to send things over to Ukraine in hopes that they will somehow beat Vladimir Putin. Now, Russia's President Vladimir Putin has just doubled down on Russia's claim that Ukraine shot down its own 65 prisoners of war. During a speech in St. Petersburg, Vladimir Putin stated, "I don't know whether they did it on purpose or by mistake, through thoughtlessness. There are black boxes. Everything will now be collected and shown." Even though Putin is threatening to release evidence, Ukraine remains unconvinced that the plane actually had prisoners of war on board, claiming that Russian propaganda is based on no evidence. So Russia says, "We're going to send 65 prisoners of war back to you." Ukraine shoots down the plane. They then try to say, no, it was actually Russia that shot down the plane. Now they're saying, okay, we shot down the plane, but it didn't really have prisoners of war. So could somebody just tell us the truth? Because you're making yourselves look really bad. You most likely shot down the plane. You look and feel stupid, but just own up to it. These 65 people have family members that deserve to know the truth. All right, now tell me if this is scary or is it just me? Earlier this month, the pressure locking door of an Alaska Airlines 737 plane blew off in the middle of flight. They were up about 20,000 feet, and all of a sudden the airplane lost cabin pressure, oxygen mask dropped, and items began to be sucked out of the plane. The noise was terrifying. I've seen the videos, but new details have emerged. And basically what happened is the door was removed to make a small repair. When they put it back on, they forgot to put the bolts in. The door was literally put on with no hinge bolts. That's why it just sucked right off the airplane, scaring hundreds of passengers that they were going to lose their lives. I mean, let me know in the comments, how would you respond? I would basically pee my pants and then hold on for dear life. But let me know how you would respond down below, please. Okay, now, French farmers continue to show contempt for their government as their government tries to put them out of business in the name of climate change hysteria. As of right now, almost all of the city of Paris is surrounded by tractors blocking traffic in and out of the city. These poor farmers, all they want is support. They want to be able to grow food for their families and also the people of France. And they want to be able to basically make a living like they have for generations. However, the climate nuts of Europe and the World Economic Forum continue to put out reports that farmers need to be put out of business. But last I checked, every human on planet Earth has to eat. So how are they going to feed themselves? I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens in Germany and France and Denmark. But the farmers of Europe are furious with their government, and I would be too. Okay, now my final story. Senator Joe Manchin announced today, if for some reason Joe Biden has a health scare, he will be ready to jump in and run for president of the United States. So is this Joe Manchin telling us what he plans to do? Or is this Joe Manchin revealing what the Democrat Party is planning to do in order to get Biden out while giving him dignity to leave the office before his dementia presents itself more apparently? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, Manchin says he won't abandon the Democrat Party, but he will step in, but he's not going to step on Joe Biden's toes because he is the most compassionate and fiscally responsible Democrat in all of Washington, D.C., and he definitely sees himself being your president one day. I don't know. Let me know down below. I know they're waiting for Biden to have a health scare, but I think his health scares me already. I'm already having a health scare about Joe Biden. But you know, what do I know? Let me know down below. Would Joe Biden pretend to have a health emergency in order to leave so that Joe Manchin could step in? Or are they going to just hand the reins over to Kamala Harris? I don't know. I'm thinking Donald Trump's just going to beat him. So none of this really matters, but it was in the news today. All right, now this is my update for today. I want to say hello to some people. Hi, everybody. Sean, Daniel, Tamara or Tamara, Stephen, Ronnie, Robert. Hey, everybody. I've been watching you for 4 years. You're the greatest. I love your guests and the interviews. Thoughts and prayers, my brother. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Hi, Ty. Hi, Juan. Hola, Juan. Sandy, Janelle. Oh, man, this is moving too quick. Hi from New Hampshire. Nikki, Haley's crazy. Jill's crazy. I've been watching you since the lockdown. Goodbye, Kamala Harris. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by today. Before I go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. Never, never, never forget that. And never, ever link your self-worth to the government or its policies. You'll only be disappointed. Hey, thanks so much for supporting the channel. I really do love all of you guys. I'm going to leave some videos around here at the end so that you can watch them, including that interview with Congressman Scott Perry on the potential civil war that could be happening on the Texas border. Oh my gosh, I can't leave you guys yet. Hello, hello. Grizzly, Greg, James, Nathan, Janelle, Nancy, hello. Hey, thanks so much and have a great rest of your evening.